Okay, we've let the ski cool, and now we're going to go ahead and brush it. Where it's the same thing you've seen before. We're going to take the stiff stainless, or the soft stainless, I'm sorry. And the way that you use these brushes and the progression of brushes, I'm not going to argue with you about what brushes or what sequence or anything to use them in. It's probably a personal preference, but I prefer to use the coarsest brushes first that I'm going to use and work my way down to a finer bristle. Okay, make a couple passes with this brush. Pay attention to your tips and tails, don't neglect them. Maybe a little firmer pressure, second pass. No big deal, just keep brushing it. As you do this first brushing, that's when you're really going to see the highs and the low spots in the ski. On this ski where the bindings are mounted, we got a couple really deep pockets. And those are, you're going to see it. You're going to see a different color. You're going to see it's not getting so shiny. It's got wax stuck in those pockets. When it's deep in those pockets, it kind of helps fill them. So I'm not going to worry about trying to pull all the wax out of those pockets. It's just a couple little spots under the binding. Okay. Move on to the bronze brush. I really want to clean this hydrocarbon off pretty good before I put on a fluorocarbon wax here. Guy's gonna run this thing in a couple more nights, and okay, now I've moved on to the brass brush. Okay, the finest last brush. It's gonna be an evening thing at night, and it's gonna be at our lowest, probably our lowest mountain around here, Hoodoo. And it's going to be warm over the next few days. So again, I'm assuming I could just leave the guy with the hydrocarbon wax and brush it out real good. But I want to give him a little bit of advantage in case the snow's a little bit wet. Technically snow that's old, or when the crystals change after 3 days. In other words, let's say it snowed, now it's the fourth day. The snow's been through 3 days. They call that old snow. But if you get rain on snow, if you get rain on the top of snow, I believe that can make the snow old real quick. Because what we're talking about is melting down those little crystalline edges of that snow. And the tilling and the grooming of the snow makes it different too. So anyway, the anti-static agent in the brand that I use is different for old snow and new snow. So in this case, what I'm going to do for this guy is, got it all brushed down pretty good. I could have gone a little deeper in some of these lower stripes that I'm seeing in it. And you know, I'm just going to wipe it and look, and I think I am. I'm going to take this brass brush, and I see the deeper stripes. And I'm going to work it like I showed you on that little bit of an angle. I'm just concentrating on the places where I can see the wax is shinier, it's thicker. I'm not seeing the structure where the little lines and the cracks through it, because the wax is just a little thicker. You may not be able to see this on the cam, but I'm pulling up a lot of dust now as I'm working into those low spots in this ski and exposing the structure, the little lines, the little cracks that are in the base of the ski. Especially when we're talking about wetter snows, that's extremely important to expose those little cracks. The opposite of super hard dry powder. Then you want a ski that's smoother. It's not that you don't want to clean your structure, but the structure itself, or the little lines and cracks, are going to be much more minute in a ski that's set to run dry, cold powder. So anyway, okay, feeling much better right there about that now. And I'm just going to go ahead and, you can use a dust brush or you can use your horsehair brush. This is a hair brush, or I'm sorry, it's a dust brush that's made from, I don't know what this thing's made from, boar's hair or horse hair. I think it's a horse hair. It's a hair brush anyway, so I just kind of help get some of the extra wax dust off of there. And I'll take my wiper, go ahead and wipe it a little bit more. Okay. So now we're ready to go ahead and apply the special wax. Now the wax that I decided for today to use is a Dominator wax. This is called Race Zoom Old Snow. Now this has got what we call, or what Dominator calls, their mid-fluorinated wax, combined with the Zoom wax, which is considered an all-temperature wax for average snow temperatures. Okay, in the mid-range, you know, and it also has fluorinated graphite, or a fluorographite polymer, which is your better anti-static for old snow. Okay, for new snow we just used graphite, not polymer graphite. I'm sorry, fluorographite polymer, which is graphite that if you know about polymers, that's chemically made, and they bond the graphite to the fluorine, and so it's a unique compound specific to Dominator waxes. But the Race Wax Old Snow is already a blend of other things that I could create right here with other specialty waxes. I could use, for example, a combination of different waxes to make this work, which would include an anti-static wax and a degree of fluorination. So this wax here, this is SRB 32. This wax right here it is used for old snow and warmer old snow, and I would use 50%, let's say, of this rubbed on only, not even with an iron, just vigorously rubbed on. And then I would use something like this. Okay, this is a high fluoro yellow. Okay, so it's the combination of these two waxes that would make it work in a really wet snow, for example. Okay, so we're getting a little technical there, and I'm not going to get into all the different combinations here, etc., etc. But for example, for new snow, they recommend a different anti-static agent, which this is your anti-static for new snow. Okay, in the pink formula. So it gets real complicated. So to make it easier for most people, you want to take the guesswork out of it. You use the Zoom. Okay, again, this is for old snow. And it's got some moisture into it, and it does have an anti-static SRB 32 agent in there, or your fluorographite polymer. All your graphite, your anti-static agents, I believe the best thing to do is physically rub them into the ski like you're seeing me do right now. Okay, we've opened up the moisture channels, or the structure of the ski. We've brushed it out really good. Okay, before we've done this, we don't want to just necessarily put it right over the top. Well, we do want to put it over the top of hydrocarbon, but we want to physically rub this fluorographite polymers, or your anti. Okay, sorry about that. The video ended when I was talking about ironing in the old snow Zoom. Race Zoom Old Snow, and I wasn't paying attention to the memory of my camera, and it filled up on me. But what I was trying to talk about earlier with the anti-static waxes, and I told you that I would take, for example, I told you I would take this this SRB 32 wax, you know, for old snow, and then I would physically rub that on with the other wax. Well, you have to iron that in after you rub it. What I meant was this wax is really spendy, okay, but it works wonders in old snow. And when you learn how to use it, you just rub it on a certain amount. You rub it on, and Dominator will tell you can rub it in little checkerboards, you know, with the other day wax, with the other combination wax that you use it with. But I take the anti-static and I rub it on real good, and then I would take the other wax that I was telling you about, which would have been a pink. In this case, it didn't matter what color it is. Up to your pinks, you can rub these on pretty good. When you start getting into blues, they don't rub in so good. So I would have taken this mid-fluoro pink, okay, and rubbed that over the top of that SRB 32 and got a nice layer, just like you're rubbing wax on a surfboard and you see it building up. And about the same amount of strokes. You can feel how much wax is coming off. And then, yeah, that would all be ironed in. And we'd take our time and we'd iron it down just like we did on this ski. So anyway, that's the deal, I guess. I guess that's pretty much all I got to say for this video. So, okay. This ski is cooling. It's going to be all scraped and brushed. Like I told you, go look at my scraping and brushing video. Proper preparation or preparation after waxing. Anyway, it's on my list there, and it's scraping and brushing, you know, final preparation to make the ski ready to ski. So all that's got to be done to this ski as soon as this wax cools well. So okay, folks, hope you learned something about waxing skis and waxing them with iron that's not too hot, and taking your time to re-wax with an iron. Okay, once you've hot boxed your skis thoroughly, if you re-wax them, you know, either every night or every other night or every 5th day, depending on how much you ski and what kind of snow you're skiing on, and you know how the base looks when you're done skiing it that day. Does it look like it's starting to dry? If it looks like it's starting to dry, you're actually probably a little bit late on wax. I like to come back, you know, about a day before. Like, so when I get done skiing my ski and I dry off the base of it and I'm looking at it in the parking lot and it still looks oily and greasy and shiny, then it's okay. And it's probably time, you know, if you skied it already 2 or 3 days and it still looks a little oily, it's not too late to wax. Again, wax depends, how long it lasts depends on how fast you ski, and, you know, obviously how many miles you ski on them, and what the type of snow is underneath your ski versus the type of wax that you have on your ski, etc., etc., etc. So there's a lot of factors to be considered, but keeping your ski waxed up, folks, that's what's going to make it last and not become concave or railed, etc., etc. So keep those skis waxed up good, and they'll treat you good. And so there you go. Okay, we'll catch you on the next episode, whatever that is. I think I may do another episode later or something, but who knows. If you've got any questions, feel free to question me in the comment box on the YouTube video, and I'll, you know, I don't check in there every day, but, you know, I'll answer any questions that come my way. And so there you go. And again, I'm not saying that everything I say is perfect or the best thing in the world, but I've been doing this a while and I feel pretty confident with my knowledge, and I want to share it with you. And so there you go. Okay, have fun.